morning, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, grandmammies and grandpappies. It's the Sunday Rise, brought to you by the Sideline Junkies. And I'm sitting here with two of my favorite people. First guy is the gentleman Jack. The other guy is the big guy KG. I'm the Midnight Rider. We're going to do a little something special for you today. We're going to go through first segment. We're probably going to talk about Rickey Henderson. We got a little college football roundup. We got the ball says. We have the nickel. And then at the end, we get to talk a little bit about RFK. So with that being said, I'm just going to turn this over to the man with the plan, the man that runs the show, the big guy KG. Let's go.
Good morning to everyone. Glad to be on this side. Glad to be here with the gentleman Jack, the Midnight Rider. Glad to be here with you all. I seen a message from Matty Ice about one this morning say he was driving to go see his dad, so he wouldn't be part of the show. But I gotta find it to remember what he said. But I know he said he wasn't gonna be part of the show this morning because he'll be driving. But even when Matty Ice, let's do it on the comeback. So first and foremost, let's start this off the most important way. Jack, Midnight Rider, how y'all feeling?
Well, the Midnight Rider feels good. The Midnight Rider is just trying to have a good day and do a good show. That's how the Midnight Rider feels right now.
Yeah, Midnight Rider. I think you gotta yell before you wake up, because pre-show. But once you said good morning, you woke up, buddy. I like that.
Can't give away all the secrets, Jack.
No.
Well, anytime that you wake up and you 6 feet above ground, it's a great day. So
heck yeah,
I'll say that. We got to start this off with a little bit of sad news. This went back and forth yesterday because some people were saying it wasn't true, some people saying it was true, and then finally nailed it down. It took me 2 hours to nail down the truth, but the man of steel, not like the metal steel, the man of steel, the stolen base leader of all time, Rickey Henderson, has passed away. There are several stories that you could tell about Rickey Henderson. And it has nothing to do with stats. Rickey was he was one of those characters that made baseball fun. I remember, I've seen Rickey Henderson stories over the last few years, and it's been really, really hilarious. Like when what's my man name? Damn, I can't think of his name. He said Rickey got hurt and he won the Steals title. For only person in the 80s to win the Steals title. Harold Bain. Reynolds. Yeah, Reynolds. And he said Rickey called him and said, Henderson here. He said 60? Rickey gonna have 60 by the All-Star break, and hung up on him. It's the truth. Earl Weaver said that if you gave up a single to Rickey Henderson, you might as well give up a triple because he was going to go ahead and steal the next two bases. I'm going to turn it over to Jack, and then we'll turn it over to the Midnight Rider, and I'll finish it off. But, gentlemen, thoughts on Rickey Henderson?
Well, KG, I thought of this when I read it because I know how you are with names, and I hear you say a lot of ball players first, middle, and last name. Rickey Henderson was Rickey Nelson Hanley Henderson. So middle name Nelson. He was born on Christmas Day, Rickey Henderson was, and I think this might attribute to why he was so fast. Apparently, Rickey came early on Christmas Day, and his mom gave birth to him in the back of an Oldsmobile while they were racing to a Chicago area hospital. I never knew that about Rickey until I looked it up last night. So, yeah, if Rickey was in a hurry to get to this world, he was in a hurry to get to the next base, Hall of Fame in 2009. He passed from pneumonia. That's tough, man. That's tough. I know one thing, that when Rickey Henderson stepped in a batter's box, this is a big Rickey memory. I always looked at him and I was, damn, look at that butt on him. I mean, his hips and his ass were built like granite. I mean, that's what I always noticed about Rick Henderson was his thighs and his backside. He was a made to run man. So, I just want to give my best wishes to his wife Pam, his daughters Alexis, Adriana, and Angela, and just wish to all the Henderson family and all the folks hurting from the loss of Ricky Henderson. Midnight Rider, how did Ricky passing affect you, or what do you got?
I mean, he was a person that, like, I thought about when I was playing baseball, and I wanted to go first to third. I mean, it was kind of like based off of him, just because I just seen him do it. So I used to have a rule, like if somebody hit me, I'm taking second, and I'm trying my damnedest to take third, depending on the situation. And that's just how Ricky was. Ricky went from first to third whenever. KG's thing by Earl Weaver is the truth. I think the biggest thing I always remember is after he broke the stolen base record, he was just like, I'm the greatest of all time. And just like, thank you. It was the most Ricky way to do something. Always talked about himself in third person. It's just Ricky being Ricky. And I think he had one of those electric bats where if he wanted to, I mean, I think this is where we talk about the change in the dynamics of the way guys play baseball. If Ricky wanted to, he could load up and probably giving you 30, 40 home runs with his strength and his build. But he preferred to get hits and then use his body, his legs as his weapon. So that's the main thing I take away from Ricky. Go ahead, KJ.
Ricky played 25 seasons. He came in 70, so he played 4 different decades, 25 seasons. Played in the tail end of the 70s, 80s, the 90s, and the early part of the 2000s. He was a Yankee from 85 to 89. I would say that. But what team do you say is synonymous? Jack already said it. The A's. He's synonymous with Ricky Henderson. When Tony Gwynn got his 3,000th hit, I think Ricky got his 3,000th hit the same day. I think that's how that went when they were in San Diego together.
Wow.
I think that was the second time they went there. 2001. I think they both got 3,000 hits the same day. I think that's how it happened. But it's just, man, death is a part of living, and I'm one that does not take death very, very well. And people say, well, you never met this person. You don't understand. When you have sports stars and music stars and celebrities, you don't understand how people touch your life and shape who you are. And you have people that are fans. And when I say fans, I mean fans. Just like a lot of people were in the DC area with Sean Taylor fans. In that short amount of time, he touched their lives, even though they never met. You know, when you talk about music, you talk about Michael Jackson and Prince, they touch people's lives, even though they never met. So, don't be the person that says, hey, you never met her. Why are you all like this? Shut up. So, Ricky had a 279 lifetime batting average, 3,055 hits, 297 home runs, 1,115 RBIs, 1,406 stolen bases, which is all-time record, 2,295 runs. And he was at Oakland, their last game at Oakland, where he caught the first pitch. His daughter threw out the first pitch, and he caught it. That was his last appearance in Oakland. 2-time World Series champion in 89 and 93. Won the MVP, the AL MVP in 90. 10-time All-Star. ALCS MVP in 89. Won a Golden Glove in 81. 3 Silver Slugger Awards. 12-time AL stolen base leader. He's in the Athletics Hall of Fame. His number 24 is retired in Oakland. And his career runs and stolen bases are MLB records. And 130 stolen bases in a single season is a record. Damn, you ain't got nobody stealing 130 bases now. Ain't nobody stealing like that. Like Jack said, inducted in 2009 in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, 94.8% of the vote. So I wonder who that other percent was that didn't vote. But
Hater.
Ricky Henderson, hater. Ricky Henderson will be missed, and you will hear him talked about an awful lot from now until the cows come home, because that's just the way it is when you got a character like him. It's a lot of stories out there that's going to resurface. Next up, we got the college football roundup. We'll start with Friday. And on Friday, our Notre Dame Fighting Irish defeated Indiana 27-17. This was a in-state rivalry, and Indiana hasn't won in Notre Dame. They haven't won in South Bend in 125 years. So if they haven't won in 125 years, what made them think they was going to win on Friday? And they talked a lot of trash on the internet. These fans were talking so much trash on the internet. And I'm going to say this. This is a well-deserved win, but they can't play sloppy like this in the next round. Jack?
Yeah, I agree. But Notre Dame definitely dominated the trenches on both sides of the ball. They opened it up for Love to have a sweet game rushing, and the defensive line just shut down Indiana's offense. I thought Indiana was just 4 for 12 on third downs. You're not going to win a ball game like that. So I just feel that Notre Dame outmatched Indiana and possibly proven all the critics wrong, right. Did this team belong? And it's gonna be a few more years before I think they find a exact equation to make sure we get the right teams in here. I'm not necessarily certain the best teams are who win the conference championships or who are in the top 12 to 14. But we'll see, because Saturday's slate was pretty much the same thing, but we'll talk about that as we get in. What did you see in your Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Midnight Rider?
They started out hot. Running game got going. I think this defense is showing that it's probably the best defense Notre Dame's had in a long time, from an athlete standpoint, from a speed standpoint, from just the ability to dictate terms. They do all of that stuff all the time. The only thing I do not like, and kind of Jack started to allude to it, is he started talking about they didn't deserve to be there. Indiana deserved to be there. They were one of the top teams. They may not have had the strength of schedule, but what's the point of us playing the games, having the conferences, if we're not going to reward the people that win ball games, no matter what the situation is? If we're going to make it a style point or a style point selection show, then tell us that up front. Like, let's stop waiting till we get to the end and your team doesn't make it, and then they're crying about not getting in. I saw Lane Kiffin make a tweet, and he was talking about how his team deserved to be there, because he was talking about how Indiana didn't look that competitive, and Joe Klatt responded to him, well, if you coached better as well as you tweet, maybe your team would be in the playoffs. Like, we got to stop worrying about the 13th and the 14th team. I get it. I think part of the reason they're doing this is because we really want to get to 16. That's really the spot they want to get to. So if we can bemoan and a little bit more, we can get the world to think, oh, we're not getting it right with the 12. We got to get it right by adding 4 more teams, and then we'll be satisfied. That's really what I think the goal is. I think these are coaches planting seeds to get more teams in, so they got a better shot when they blow it early in the season or they have a loss that they shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I agree with what you said as far as stop saying the teams don't belong there, because a lot of people was like, well, if Indiana lost like that, why couldn't Miami be in there? Miami wasn't there because Miami wasn't there. You know, let's not have revisionist history, please. Let's not even do it.
No.
Couple of comments. And I apologize for missing a couple comments. Jack Wagner said, rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. Chris Bate said, one of my best memories. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, hey, this is a good friend of mine, Chris Bate, right here. And he chimed in on our Facebook page. And, I hollered at him this morning and was like, look, come on the show. We're going to be talking about your boy, Ricky. This guy, Chris Bate, man, he one of the biggest Ricky Henderson fans I know. I mean, who liked the Oakland A's in the 80s and 90s living on the East Coast? Chris Bate did. And, you couldn't see TV like you do nowadays. So, and when Ricky Henderson was on national TV, it was must-watch baseball. You don't hear much must-watch baseball. When Judge was chasing records, yeah, that's must-watch. But during the regular season, Ricky Henderson was must-watch baseball. And Chris, if you don't mind me reading this, please. It was one of my best memories. Was years ago when I was dating a girl. We went to see the A's in Baltimore. After the game, the girl I was dating yelled at the top of her lungs, Ricky, Ricky! And he acknowledged her and came over. That's the best way to do it. Get a girl to yell for the player. They'll come over every time. Said he shook his head and came over, and they shook his hand and took pictures. He has that picture to the day. Great person, cared about his fans, something I'll never forget. And that's true, because I was there with my wife watching Ricky play one time, and he was in the dugout, and I'm like, Ricky, come here, man! And no lie, he ran out of the dugout and posed for a picture with us, almost the same story as Chris has. So Ricky was definitely personable with his fans. So let's get back to football. I was wondering if Chris was going to come on this morning. I just wanted to read that myself. Thanks, guys.
Jack Wagner checking in. Say, let's go Indy. Damn right. Damn right. And he said Indiana got smashed. Indiana was just outplayed. Looking at this, Jeremiah Love only had 8 carries for 108 yards in that touchdown. He was dealing with a knee injury, so they kind of shut him down early. Riley Leonard, 23 of 32, 201 touchdown and an interception. He says he's coming back next year. Jordan Faison, because he's coming back next year because he ain't gonna make the NFL playing like he played this year. He played okay, but he's not gonna make the NFL like that. He's no Sam Hartman. Let's be honest. Jordan Faison, 7 catches, 89 yards. For Indiana, Curtis Rourke, 20 of 23, 215, 2 touchdowns in the pick. Justice Ellis, 11 carries, 37 yards. And Elijah Surratt, 4 catches, 67 yards. Jack Wagner said everyone feared giving up a base hit to Ricky Henderson for years. Giving up one base, pretty much giving up 3. Damn right. That's what Earl Weaver said. You might as well go ahead and give up a triple. Gentlemen, we had a lot of football that went on. We had a couple bowl games too. We just gonna gloss over the bowl games that happened. You also had the Gasparilla Bowl, which was Florida versus Tulane. Florida wins 33-8. The Cure Bowl was Ohio versus Jackson State or Jack State. It's Jackson State. 30-27. Ohio wins. New Orleans Bowl, Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston. Sam Houston 31-26 over Georgia Southern. Next playoff thing. This was a surprise to me. Penn State 38, SMU 10. I'm gonna say why I was surprised with this, because I expected I think I had SMU beating Penn State because Penn State was shaky all year. But the first 2 touchdowns that Penn State had was on defense. They had 2 pick sixes. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Penn State 38, SMU 10. Kevin Jennings, 20 of 36, 195, a touchdown, 3 INTs. Brashard Smith, 18 carries, 62 yards. Roderick Daniels, 4 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. For Penn State, Drew Allard, 13 of 22, 127. Nick Singleton, 14 carries, 90 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Harrison Wallace, third, 4 catches, 48 yards. Jack, how did you feel about this game?
It was a sleeper. It was a sleeper. It was a sleeper. Somebody wake me up. Yeah, Kevin Jennings, 3 picks, 2 for 6. SMU 3 for 14 on third down. They just got shut down by that Penn State defense, is what I saw. Ain't much to say about it. Penn State's defense shut SMU down and won this game by themselves. The defense scored 14 points, so they won 14-10. So, yeah, I hope the playoffs aren't full of games like this, man. Because that ain't what I want to see. What would you like about it, Midnight Rider?
I thought the SMU quarterback was rattled the whole time, rattled from the beginning. He never got comfortable, never looked comfortable. His first couple of throws, he should have had probably more than just that when it comes to INTs. He probably should have thrown 5 that day. But the problem also with we got to, I don't know. I think these first round games will show that there's a difference, but all of them going to show a difference. Like it's like the home teams all won because we had the great effect of the home field advantage. These home fields showed up and showed out. They weren't letting anybody come in and take over their building. They did a whole bunch of stuff. The crowds were dominant in making an impact in these games. And I think that's what you got to expect in the first round. You got to expect a couple of these games where it gets out of hand because you're on the campus. You're not at a neutral site. Like that home field advantage matters. So I wasn't surprised, especially after I saw his first 2 throws. I was like, oh, this is going to be a long day. This is going to be a long day for SMU. And they couldn't get their run game going. So luckily for Penn State, their linebackers could run and catch because they took 2 backs. The second one was very impressive. And then after that, they kind of settled in and just took advantage of what was left, man. It was a good thing, man.
I'll say this. I really had higher hopes for SMU. And this is another game after this game. Well, SMU shouldn't have been there. That should have been Alabama. That should have been it. Please stop.
Yeah.
We now we're not a part of the committee, so we gotta deal with what's in front of us. You gotta feast on the buffet in front of you. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Next up, Texas Longhorns 38, Clemson Tigers 24. This was, I ain't gonna say back and forth, but Clemson was really trying to get into this, and they were trying to really go with it, but they couldn't pull it off. That late INT closed the door. I mean, the door was already ajar, and it got slammed shut with that late INT. Cade Klubnik, 26 of 43, 336, 3 touchdowns, and of course that pick. Adam Randall, 4 carries, 44 yards. TJ Moore, 9 receptions, 116 and a touchdown. For Texas, Quinn Ewers, 17 of 24, 202 yards, a touchdown to INT. Jaden Blue, 14 carries, 146 and 2 touchdowns. And Gunnar Helm, 6 catches, 77 yards and a touchdown. Jack, take it away.
This was a good game. It got closer toward the end. Texas, man, their running game was just on point yesterday, and it tore apart a slightly weak Clemson defense for 292 team yards, rushing yards. That's sick. They cut through Clemson's D line like butt. I didn't know Texas running game was all like that, man. All I kept hearing is you is this, you is that. Man, that running game was on fire yesterday. Clemson, Klubnik, he did not a bad performance. I mean, he did what he had, what he was trying. They just, hit this Texas team, and Texas was a bandsaw. I don't care who you put in front of them, the Detroit Lions, whoever. Texas was determined to win this game yesterday. So everybody better be on the lookout for Texas Longhorns, man. I thought after their second loss to Georgia, I was like, man, they're able, but they got beat by Georgia. Now that's not no fluke. So best game of the day, I thought, was the Clemson Texas game. Tigers will be back. What do you think, Midnight Rider?
Yeah, this was a great game. Quinn Ewers played the game he had to play. And it helped that their run game actually picked up, because I think that's the reason they struggled against Georgia, is they didn't have a semblance of a run game. They could never get the run game going. So I thought Clemson was going to be a little bit better and a little bit more stout on defense, and they weren't. And it showed, and they paid for it. This game was just high action the whole time. It was like I kept thinking, okay, Clemson's still going to have a shot. Clemson's still going to have a shot. And they just didn't. It's like they just didn't have that other guy. You know, it was like something was missing from the offense, whether it's a receiver or a playmaker or something like that. And I think that's part of Clemson having to actually try to get some kids out of the portal. I know they don't like to do that, but I think they may have to catch them a playmaker or two, just to help keep them in the elite. Because right now they're struggling when they play the top tier teams.
Clemson has, I believe, already looked into the portal before this game. So, yeah, I think Dabo is definitely going to go that route next year.
Jack Wagner said SMU got big boy, show who they were not. Show they were not bad for the first year in the ACC, though. I mean, they were in the ACC championship. I think SMU was hung over from that loss. But as far as Clemson go, didn't Clemson beat them?
Yeah.
And Clemson won the ACC. Yeah, this is it. It's kind of funny, but it's not. But I get it. I expected more from Clemson because this is a championship team, but not anymore. Not anymore. I think they're hung over. They haven't retooled from the Trevor Lawrence days. So next up, this is what Matty Ice was saying he was surprised about. He said this is his surprise of the weekend. The beatdown that Ohio State put on Tennessee. Ohio State 42, Tennessee 17. This game was 21-10 at the half. And then Ohio State goes and scores another 21 in the second half. And all Tennessee can muster is 7. For Tennessee, Nico, I'm a believer. 14-31, 104. Peyton Lewis, I'm surprised nobody laughed at my joke there, but okay. Peyton Lewis, 10 carries, 77 yards. Brew McCoy, 4 catches, 40 yards, I'm sorry. Ohio State, Will Howard, 24-29, 311, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Travion Henderson, 10 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Jeremiah Smith, 6 catches, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jack, take it away.
I ain't got much to say about it because, like I said, I fell asleep when Ohio State was up 21-0. Will Howard had a great game, showed why he's the leader he is. Ohio State's offense averaged 7.4 yards per play. That's sick. And, you know, as far as Tennessee, they totally got outplayed, man. I'm not going to waste my breath on describing how or why because everybody's seen it. They totally got outplayed. Tell them, Midnight Rider.
It's I'm a leave, I can fly. Not I'm a believer. But I like trying. But no, I mean, this game, I got to give a shout out to Ohio State's front line. And then for Antonio Boone, I'll give some love to Will Howard. I'm not the biggest Will Howard fan, but he played a elite ball game last night. He helped them get there. It doesn't hurt when you have one of the best freshman wide receivers in the country, Jeremiah Smith, on your side. And what's number 2? Ibika. probably two of the better receivers in the country. That doesn't hurt. And then your run game is Junkins and Henderson. So I think Ohio State's offensive line just dominated what I thought was a very good to elite front line for Tennessee. They got manhandled in the run game. They got manhandled in the pass game. See, they may have gotten manhandled getting on the bus. So it was a great win by Ohio State. And we'll see what happens next week.
They got the Ducks next time. They got the Ducks next week. Texas? Who's Texas got? I'm sorry. Texas has Arizona State. Penn State's got Boise. That's going to be an interesting matchup because Penn State's one of the top defenses and Boise is one of the top offenses. So that's going to be interesting. And then Notre Dame's got Georgia. That's going to be a good one, I think, too.
I'll say Notre Dame, Georgia kind of gives me pause because it's Georgia. And that is down south. That is the Sugar Bowl. One of my favorite bowls, period, is the Sugar Bowl. So I'm really nervous about that. But I guess we'll see how that works. Jack Wagner says, for me, that was a surprise of the day. Tennessee just didn't show up. It sounded like they didn't. It looked like they didn't. It looked like they just they didn't.
I got a comment on my end over here. I got a comment on my side. Sideline Junkies being watched everywhere. They're being watched in the Harris Teeter right now, okay? Coaches in the Harris Teeter watching. So let's see if he gets some people leaning over his shoulder to talk about the Junkies and what we talking about.
Well, we got more football coming up, and I'm here for it. This is the first time in a while I've been excited about postseason football, but now it's a tournament. It seems, pretty good. It don't have the hype of the big dance, that first weekend of the big dance. It don't have that hype where you plan your schedule accordingly, and you take off work that first weekend.
It's the first.
Don't have that hype. Yeah, no, it's the second year, but no,
no. This format is the first year, and all the teams showed up and showed out. You had the. Go ahead.
I'm not saying it as knocking it. I'm just saying it's not there yet, but it's going to get there. We're going to have that type of hype soon. I'm just saying it's not there yet. I'm not knocking it and saying, oh, this is not good enough. And this is no. It's going to get there. But I'm hyped up about it, and a lot of people are hyped up about it. The tickets were for Notre Dame versus Indiana was $1,000. It snowed that morning. It was 21 degrees, and people were out there in sweatshirts. Some were bundled up. Didn't matter, but they were there. That Notre Dame Stadium.
Go ahead, KG. I'm sorry.
Oh, Notre Dame Stadium was filled to capacity. I mean, you were in the shadow of touchdown Jesus, and everybody was happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Notre Dame's offensive line, I believe, came out there with no clothes and no shirts on. Was that game, guys?
I know Saturday morning I saw SMU's O-line come out without no shirts for the Penn State game.
Okay.
I didn't see the game for Notre Dame.
No, maybe it was SMU. Yeah, that's exactly where it was. Yes. That's right.
Yeah, it snowed up in Happy Valley too. So it was snowing all over the country. So, all right, gentlemen, we got a good bit of things to post up to here. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the NFL. But before we do that, we got to do it right. And you got to jump into the Boss Says. All right, jump into it now. Okay.
Hey, good morning to all. This is the Boss B. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Sunday Rise with the Sideline Junkies. Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all? Hey, look, man, I just want to touch on some college. Not football in particular, just college right now. And we watched the first round of the college football playoff over the last 2 days. And I enjoyed it. And a lot of people didn't enjoy it because they're crying about number 13 and number 14. And we talked about it on this show. It's been talked about ad nauseum on other shows. No matter how many teams you make this playoff, if you make it 16, 17 and 18 are going to make a cry why they should be in. But let me tell you something, right? The gentleman Jack, they call them hammers or the blue bloods. You control your own destiny. When you lose games you're not supposed to lose, you're at the mercy of that team the rest of the season. If that team doesn't do anything, then that loss looks really bad. If that team ends up, waking up and all of a sudden they're looking good, then the loss doesn't look so bad. So you can't complain about losses you had that kept you out of this thing. That's why I'm going to say that. But me being the fan of a little guy school, the Maryland Terrapins, I enjoy the process. And I know people want to see Alabama, LSU, Texas, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Did I say Clemson? I might have said Clemson. The Miamis, the Florida States. They want to see these schools. If you want to see these schools, go to your VHS, DVR, wherever you want to go. It's a library full of this. But if you're like me and you enjoy the process and you want to see new blood, then you enjoy what happened this weekend. I enjoyed watching SMU go to Penn State and struggle. I'm not talking about the kids struggling. I'm talking about SMU going through the process of learning how to win in a big environment. I'm talking about Indiana going to Notre Dame, struggling in the cold, even though they're a cold weather team, but that environment. And I think that this is good for college football. You get to see the true college environment, not the travel environment, not playing at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, not playing at the Superdome in Louisiana, not playing in Arizona or California where it's perfect. You get to see a real college atmosphere. You get to see Tennessee going to Ohio State to shoot and lose. You get to see these teams go into a real college environment. And they've been playing, but now the stakes are higher. Everything is amplified times 20. And, your teams like Ohio State and Michigan and the Penn States of the world, they're on the spotlight all year. Now you get to see teams that normally wouldn't be there start their process. And if you go back to Gonzaga basketball over the last, 10, 15 years of them becoming a blue blood, becoming a hammer, on the edge of the cliff and just can't really make it. That's a process. This is a process that has to take place now with how college football has transformed with the NIL deals and all. And I'm going to enjoy this because you're going to see some new names popping this thing over the next couple of years because you see what the transfer portal is doing, right? And that's my next topic. The NCAA has to fix the transfer portal. They have to tighten it up. They have to take the gray area and put black boundaries around it. They have to do this because it's inexcusable for a team like Marshall to make a bowl game and the players leaving, the coach leaving, and now they have to forfeit. That's not fair to the school. And you can't put sanctions on the school because now you're going to punish a coach coming in that has nothing to do with it and possibly players coming in that has nothing to do with what just happened. So it's a very slippery slope that you have to deal with. But enjoy this process. You got a next round where Boise State, they ain't quite there yet, I don't think. And they're going to play a hammer. They're going to play a blue blood, and this is their opportunity to put their name in a hat and let you know they're for real. So enjoy it. We got some really good games coming up in the second round. And it's just one of them things. Get your popcorn, get your favorite drink, light your cigar, sit back and chill and watch it. Enjoy this process. Does the NCAA need to tighten some things up? Absolutely. But I think for the first go-around, it's kind of going, I think it's going to good. I think it's going good. I am for the NIL. College has made a ton of money off these players over the years, and for them to get paid and be able to take care of their families, see money that they normally wouldn't have seen. Some of them not gonna make it to the league, so this is a good thing. It just has to be tuned up. That's all. So that's all I got. Y'all enjoy the rest of the show, and I probably won't see you guys. So happy holidays to all. Happy New Year. Be safe. All right. Peace.
And that was the Boss Says. Gentlemen, I know you talked about it earlier in the week. You talked about the NIL deals and the transfer portals and everything of that. I didn't get a chance to jump on and say anything, but somebody said something. I can't remember if it was Matty Ice. It may have been Jack. I think you should open the transfer portal later. You open the transfer portal once everything is done. Once the bowls are done out, I think coaches, you shouldn't be able to swoop in and steal a coach at the end of the season because you're messing up a lot of things. If I recruited the Midnight Rider to come to my school, and he's played this season with me, and I'm telling him, I'm giving him all the praises and all the good things in his ear, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the season, we play our last home game, and we're getting ready to walk into a bowl game, a big bowl game at that. And I say, hey, team, before y'all hear from the news, I'm leaving, and I'm going to UCLA. You just ripped those kids' hearts out. All the promises you made, you just kind of, it's all null and void. And then everybody jumps in the transfer portal. We have another Marshall issue where nobody wants to play. I think that's bad for the school and it's bad for the kids. So that was my thought on that. But Antonio Boone checking in. He says Buckeyes. What is a Buckeye?
Trying to start something.
All right, let's jump into this nickel. First game on the slate. Dolphins versus 49ers. Niners are 1.5 point favorites. Over under is 44.5. Gentleman Jack, take it away.
44.5, huh? Niners are back to their favorite streak. I think we said something a few weeks ago. They had like 30 plus games of being favorite. Niners got to get right. I mean, fortunate they are still in a chance in their division. Purdy, there's been a lot of news. He's been all over headlines in the news this week. I feel with Miami the way they are, you gotta get the Kittle and Jennings soon and early. Warner, Bosa, Floyd, they all need to just make Tua run for his life. What's that boy's name over there, the running back? Achane?
A-Chain.
Say that, man. A-Chain.
A-Chain.
You got to watch him taking passes out of the backfield. He's very dangerous in open field. Of course, they got Tyreek Hill over in Miami. Reek's gonna, he can get his. Defensive end for Miami, Calais Campbell, one of the oldest guys in the league, is still producing. So, man, San Fran's let me down the past couple weeks, but I got to take San Fran to beat Miami today just because I think San Fran's the better team. But it's going to be a San Fran win, and I believe they're going to have the under. So what are you looking at, Midnight Rider?
this game always stumps me because this is, you got the bloodline or the family line here with Shanahan and Mike McDaniel. The apples don't fall too far from the tree. But the Dolphins still have their track squad, so it still makes them dangerous. A-Chain. They got the kid, I think it's Jalen Stewart from Tennessee as the other back. They have guys that can run, and that gives them an opportunity all the time to make big plays. I think their only problem is they're just not physical enough. Chop Robinson's giving them a good, solid rookie season. With the Niners, I mean, you got Purdy buying trucks for the O-line this week. That's where some of the news came from for him. I just don't see him as a $60 million quarterback. I'm sorry. I can sign him for 40. I don't think I can do 60. And that's a conversation for another day. I think with the Niners' health, they're starting to get some guys back, but they still just don't have enough, I think. I think the Dolphins clipped them, but it's going to be like a 23-24 type of ball game. So that gives me the over as well.
It's kind of funny you say that because the waters are muddy. Let's say that the waters are muddy this week in the NFL, and it's some hard trudging. But I'm gonna take the Dolphins in this one. I don't know why my gut is telling me taking the Dolphins is right. So I'm gonna take the Dolphins, but this ain't gonna be no bomb burn. This is gonna be 17-13 Dolphins. Jack Wagner says, yeah, it's gonna be a low scoring affair. Buckeyes a worthless nut. Dolphins win. Niners have lost the spark, and injuries didn't help. I agree with that. And the Niners have been dealing with injuries for quite some time. It's like they're a permanent mash unit. I don't know if it's the training staff. I don't know if it's just freak injuries, flukes, whatever, but they have been a mash unit for a couple of years now. So Jack Wagner said Calais has been doing it since he was in Baltimore. Yeah, I remember I wanted to sign Calais in DC, and everybody was like, no, that's going to cost too much money. I was like, we need Calais Campbell in the middle. This is when we had who do we have in the middle? I think we had Pot Roast in the middle, Terrence Knighton. We had him and Swaggy P or Swaggy B. I was like, we need something else because we getting gashed up the middle. But just my opinions. Next game.
Well, don't sleep on it because they should have drafted him because he got drafted in the midst of them drafting Malcolm Kelly, Drew, whatever his name is, Devin Thomas.
Devin Thomas, yep.
Devin Thomas, Malcolm Kelly, Fred Davis, Calais Campbell was right there in the midst of all of that.
Yeah, what they called the greatest draft under Daniel Snyder. I was like, yeah, that wasn't the greatest draft. Malcolm Kelly never saw the field. Devin Thomas was a head case. Fred Davis was a blunt head. All of them didn't do anything. They didn't bust a grape once they left here. So, moving right along. Seahawks versus Vikings. Vikings 3-point favorites. Over under is 42.5. Gentleman Jack, take it away. Take it away. Take it away.
Well, my guy Geno Smith. Everybody knows, not my guy, but I've been talking about him a bit lately and what he's doing to hold this Seattle team above water. Geno's going to reach 4,000 passing yards plus this year, and that's with the help of Mr. Smith and Jigba and Mr. DK Metcalf. Them two right there are really holding their own. But I don't know if Seattle's D is going to be able to handle Minnesota with Aaron Jones. He's going to top 1,000 yards this year. Jefferson Addison, that's two number ones. They should just be called number one on the right side and number one on the left side because that's what they do. I think Minnesota's going to put up a lot of points. I think they're going to blow the over out because Smith is going to be able to put points up playing catch up. That's the way I expect to see this. Smith putting up big numbers because he's playing catch up. But I think Andrew Van Gunkel, the defensive linebacker, I believe he is. I don't think he's a DN. I think he's a linebacker. Van Gunkel's going to cause havoc in that backfield, and Geno's going to be running for his life. And don't sleep on Van Gunkel covering the backs out of the backfield neither. He's a heck of a defensive coverage man too. So I look for Minnesota to win this game big. I'm talking they might hang 40 on them. Let's go Minnesota in the over for JC. What you got, Midnight Rider?
Seattle gets Kenneth Walker back, but I think they're still gonna. There's talks because Zach Charbonnet is he's a captain this week, so I think he's still gonna get some playing time. I think their running game is their key. Geno's still gonna be hobbled from that knee. I think he hurt it against the Packers. Still don't understand how that wasn't roughing the passer, but what do I know? I mean, if you have a rule that says you can't hit the quarterback low, and you hit the quarterback low, and he falls in front of the referee, I don't know. Maybe that's a foul.
And comes off the field.
So then he, of course, comes off the field right after the play because he gets hurt. So I don't know. I don't know what the NFL does anymore because they have rules in place. We see fouls happen. Some get called, some don't. I'm still trying to figure out how they miss some of these face mask ponies with these quarterbacks, with these running backs' heads being turned. I just don't know. I don't get it. But to stay focused on this game, I think the Vikings have Darnold is just lucky he's insulated by what he has. Aaron Jones has played solid at running back. Justin Jefferson and Addison still do it. Jack, I'm not committed to a 40 burger, but I think they hang like 35, 37 in this ball game. I think they get close to it. And I think Seattle's going to be game early, but at the end they'll fall off. So I see it as like a 37-21 type of ball game.
And you got Minnesota.
So that means I got Minnesota and the Open. I forgot. I can't trust you Blazeburg guys to do math.
I ain't gonna say nothing about that, but I think this is gonna be a close one. Give me Minnesota in the over. I'm gonna say 45-42. I'm gonna say 40 burger as well. 45-42. Couple of comments real quick. Jack Wagner said Kenneth Walker III is back for this game. Antonio Boone says selective flagging. I've been seeing a lot of that, but when I say that, y'all think I'm being biased, or I'm conspiracy theorist, but selective flagging is the correct word. I agree with that, Boone. Not to forget, this is also the first round this is basically our divisional playoffs in the Sideline Junkies Fantasy Football League. This is divisional week, and we got some matchups. So some people that have been at the top all year long, they look down, they can see how far they falling. I just wanted to say to the Midnight Rider, yeah, thank you for knocking me out of that number 2 spot, bro. I appreciate that. I went into this game in the 4th spot because of you. It's cool though. It's all right. It's all right. Next game. This is another muddy game. Cowboys versus Buccaneers. Buccaneers 3.5-point favorites. Over under 48.5. Jack, take it away.
Well, Cowboys. I assume Cooper Rush is still starting for them. I think he's the best chance they got right now. So if some reason Rush isn't starting, then that confirms they don't know what the hell they're doing up there in Dallas, or down there in Dallas. Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb, man, that's about all they got to throw at Tampa Bay. I look for Tampa Bay to roll the Cowboys too. Today's a day. There's going to be quite a few blowouts today. Not guaranteeing all the games I'm saying are going to be blowouts will be, but I guarantee there's going to be 3 blowouts today at least, maybe 4. The matchups today are just crazy. But in case anybody needs any help on a parlay thought, Baker Mayfield's going to get 300 today. Bucky Irvin's going to get 150. Mike Evans is going to get a touchdown. That will pay you nicely. I see Tampa Bay. Here we go again. Now, I'll be right in your neighborhood, Midnight Rider. Tampa Bay going to hang 35 on them. It's going to be 35-10. Ooh, that makes it under. All right, let's do that then. I'm going Tampa Bay in the under, Midnight Rider. What you working with?
I think we're going under 2 because I don't know exactly who's starting for Dallas. I'm actually trying to effort that now as we're talking. But the Buccaneers, Mike Evans, Bucky Irvin, you said it all. Baker Mayfield, they just been rolling. And I think if they win this, they complete the sweep of the NFC East because they've beaten the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Giants already. Dallas does have some playoff hope left, I think, if they win this. Yeah. But it's like 2%. So if the Buccaneers take care of their job today, I think they can essentially knock the Cowboys out of the playoffs as well. So that changes things up for people thinking about that Commanders-Dallas game towards the end of the year. The Cowboys may not have anything to play for. So they may they may put a lineup out there with a backup quarterback like maybe Trey Lance because they got to see him. They got to see something from him. So that's going to be interesting in its own right. Now that I got to pick the game, yeah, I'm with you, Jack. I think it's one of those 35-10 type of ball games. So that's the only reason we hit the under because Tampa Bay is going to do the heavy lifting, but they're not going to be able to drag that carcass across the finish line to hit the over.
I'm going to say something to y'all. Please don't think that I'm crazy. I don't need to take no meds. I think this is going to be under because I agree with the Midnight Rider. Tampa Bay's going to do the heavy lifting. Give me 40-8. Buccaneers beat the Cowboys. I agree with some things that in the comments. Jack Wagner, I agree. What do you say? Mike Evans gonna ball out again. I agree with that. Bone said Bucks putting up 40. All right, hey, 40-8. There you go. Book it.
Oh, good math there, buddy.
You like that? You like that? I had to think about it while you was talking. I was doing calculations. I had my my protractor and everything out, so I can make sure I had it right. Next up, now this one right here, this is gonna be a barn burner. Divisional matchup: Patriots versus the Bills. Bills are 14.5-point favorites, over under 46.5. This ain't like it was 10 years ago. This ain't even like it was 7 years ago. Tom Brady's not walking through that door. Steve Grogan is not walking through that door. I don't think the Patriots got a chance in hell, but this is probably the biggest line of the day. Jack, take it away.
What's the line? Ooh, dog. There's probably a couple double-digit lines today. I would not be surprised. But damn, 2 touchdowns. All right, I'm going to read you straight up what I did in my homework today. Buffalo by far a better team. Nothing else to say. Bye.
You got to pick it, though.
Buffalo by a whole bunch. And I'll take the over. Bye.
All right, thanks for that.
Buffalo going to hang a 50 knot on them.
All right. Sorry. No, that's all good. I mean, I appreciate all the homework you did. I mean, there was very detailed notes. Buffalo by a whole lot.
This game's ridiculous. If it wasn't for BJ, this game wouldn't be in the nickel.
Honestly, I'm gonna just say the Patriots cover, and here's why. Because there's been a thing all season long where the biggest line on the paper hasn't produced the blowout that it was supposed to. And New England's defense is kind of good, and I think Buffalo has kind of shot his load the last 2 weeks with the St. Louis game and then following up with the Lions game.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, I'm just saying.
This is a family show.
But I think this is going to be a closer ball game than we think. I think New England is going to be game enough. I'm going with the over, but I think the Patriots cover. And I think it's 31-21 in this ball game.
So Bills, but they don't cover.
Right.
I'm gonna put it like this. I think the Bills score 40 again this year. This week. This will be the third week in a row they score 40. Give me the Bills 41. Patriots 17. Patriots don't have offense like that. But this is Gerard Mayo's first year. If he does not get a second year to really get going, I think that'll be a travesty. I feel the same way about Pierce, but we're not going to get into that. But 41-17 Bills. So that's the over. And they'll cover. But let me this is a thorn in my side. I think you guys talked about it. We were talking about Josh Allen. Everybody was saying Josh Allen MVP. Josh Allen, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 103.5 passer rating. I think he's completed 64.4% of his passes. And I said Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's completed 67.9% of his passes, 3,787 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 4 INTs. Yeah, Lamar Jackson for MVP. But Josh Allen, Josh Allen may win another award, but it won't be MVP. So, a couple of comments real quick. Boone said Josh Allen coming out of that game after the third. That's how bad it's going to be. Damn, that's a pretty bad game. Josh Allen is my favorite quarterback in the league this year. I think this is his year. I think it's his year more along the lines of playoff success. I think Josh Allen is going to have hella playoff success. And the way the Chiefs look, I think the Chiefs will be down pretty bad. The Chiefs are going to be down bad in the playoffs. I don't think they go to the Super Bowl. I think they finally stumble. I think, remember how Pittsburgh stumbled against Washington a few years ago? That's how the Chiefs are going to stumble. They're going to stumble at the wrong time. They're going to stumble like in a divisional round. So, Jack Wagner said, can't argue with that. Lamar is nice. Yeah, he is. And the numbers speak it. So everybody said he wasn't a pocket passer. And somebody said something on one of our YouTube videos a couple of months ago. And, I like to keep receipts. And I said this the other night. I don't like to respond right away. When somebody watches it back, I don't like to respond right away because I like for it to play out. The comment was, you clowns always want to make Lamar the victim. Nobody wants to make Lamar the victim. We only state the facts that are put in front of us. And to turn that around, you clowns always want to talk about Lamar not being this. He's just a glorified running back that can throw. But this dude is having probably one of the best passing years. And you're still not recognizing him as a quarterback. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Just to be honest, your comment hasn't aged very well. So, moving on. Next game. Commanders versus Eagles. Eagles 3.5-point favorites, over under 45.5. Jack Wagner, take it away. I'm sorry, Jack Carr, take it away. Jack Wagner, we need you in here too.
I'm sure he'll come with us. Yeah, I forgot to mention how cold it's going to be at that Buffalo game. It's going to be in the teens, man. But both them teams from cold weather areas. So, but here in Washington for the Philadelphia-Washington game, it's going to be about 25 degrees with the wind chill. So, in the last meeting, Jaden Daniels was limited a little bit because he was coming back from that rib injury. But if him and McLaurin can stay hot, that would be really nice because We got to put up some numbers to hang with Philly. You can hamper that Philly offense as much as you want, but they're still going to catch some success. That's why they're a top team like they are. We need Armstrong, Louisville, Wagner, Payne. We need them to pressure Hurts, to get on Barkley. We cannot let Barkley kill us. He gonna get his, but we can't let him kill us. So the Philadelphia offense running like a finely oiled machine for most of the season, as everybody can agree. The defense is a little banged up in Philly, but next man up. We need to try to contain Jalen Carter and not let him get all up in the backfield and disrupt it. Throw double triples on him. I don't care. We need to keep Jalen Carter out of our business. And then you got Jahan Dotson coming back to town. Please don't let Washington get burnt by another former player. That would just drive me crazy. So, with that said, I do believe that Washington will win this ball game on their home turf. They will be fired up at Northwest Stadium today because the alcohol is going to be flowing to keep these people warm at that stadium. So I go Washington, and I think they're going to pick this one up. It's probably going to be late field goal possibly. So let's go 31-28 Commanders. I'll take the over.
Oh man, I've been going back and forth on this game. Like some parts of me, I see where the middle of the line is in much better shape. We're not coming off a short week. Just better opportunity for us to compete. And then I look at Philly and I look at a team that's red hot and maybe due for one of those ball games where they don't play their best. This is a week-to-week league, and I think people will forget about that. I think like you just see a game and you're like, oh, they should win this no matter what. And I think we forget that NFL is like is a week-to-week thing. You never know what you're gonna get each week. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. We've seen teams like Carolina lose late, even though they had a chance to beat Philly earlier this year. You've seen Philly go in and blow out somebody. So I think for the Commanders, I think this is the game where you got to depend on Brian Robinson to kind of do some heavy lifting for you. I'm going to take the Commanders to win because you got JD5. And that's really my answer, is JD5 can carry us to any victory. And I think that's how they win the playoffs, is because of JD5. I think the score is going to be, I think we're going to hit the over. I think it's going to be 27-24. But I think Philly scores a late touchdown. They get within 3. They have to kick an onside kick. We recover, run the clock out, and that's how the ball game ends.
Well, you already know where I'm getting ready to go because Philly is just so good. I don't know, man. It's just like Philly is just Philly and Saquon and Jalen Hurts, man. And, they got Jahan Dotson and he's looking for revenge. And I'm just like, oh, my God, I don't know what to do. If I had to choose one, I have to say I have to go with Philly because Philly is going to win this game. Philly wins 17-10. It's not going to be a really great game. They'll cover the spread, but it'll be the under.
Midnight Rider, let's just ask him for these next couple of games we got for Washington. When it comes time to have him talk about that matchup, let's just ask him, do you got the over or under, KG? That's all we got to ask him. You already know who we got. I'm getting texts and emails about this. And
Jack Wagner said the tough matchup for the Commanders. Saquon's great, but Philly's defense is Philly defense is playing good. Anything is possible. I think Philly wins this game. I'm going to say this, being honest, all jokes aside. Philly has struggled the last couple of weeks. They haven't looked really, really good. Let's just call a spade a spade. They haven't looked very good. They've struggled. I think this is one of those ones where I think Washington has a puncher's chance, and if all goes right and they swing at the right time, I think they could put Philly on their back. And I mean, I don't mean put them on their back to knock them down. I mean put them down for the count for this game. I think they can do it. I think this is possible. But I gotta go with what I gotta go with because I gotta keep things right. We didn't win 9 games this year by me picking Washington. So
That's never mind. Never mind.
Next up is the playoff picture. All right, in the AFC, it's only 2 spots available. Right now, this is in order. The Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers are your top 3 teams, the Texans, and the Ravens. Those are your 5 teams. And they say they got 2 spots left. They've already clinched. You got 2 spots left. So right now, the Chargers and the Broncos are fighting for those spots. They're in the 6th and the 7th spot. And they just played each other. On the bubble are the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals. They are on the bubble at 8, 9, and 10. Over in the NFC, you have 4 spots available. The Lions are number 1, Eagles are number 2. Vikings are the 5th seed, but they're the
Third best.
NFC North. Yeah, they're the 3rd best team, and they're also the North. Presumably division champ. The Buccaneers are in the hunt. The Rams, the Packers, and the Commanders are your 3, 4, 6, and 7 spots. The Seahawks are in the hunt on the bubble. I'm sorry. The Seahawks are on the bubble. The Falcons, the Cardinals, the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Saints are all on the bubble. Eliminated are the Bears, Panthers, and Giants in the NFC. The Jets, Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Patriots, and Raiders are all out in the AFC. So it's very interesting. Washington needs to keep pace. This is off of NFL.com. Their probability of making the playoffs, if they win, it goes up to 94%. If they lose, it goes down to 74%. But as of right now, they're sitting at 84% probability of making the playoffs. But the Rams are currently sitting at 56% to make the playoffs. But the NFC West is a very, very tough division and always has been. So, Jack Wagner said, agree, Hurts hasn't been playing great. Yeah, I know, because he cost me a game. But and Philly line has to step up. I hope they don't step up, to be honest. I'm just gonna say what that is. Let's get to what you eating. Start with Jack Wagner. Damn, Jack called, what you eating? I've been saying Jack Wagner all morning.
Damn, Midnight Rider, I think you're going to be handing me walking papers after the show.
That's the way it sounds, brother.
Dang. I'm not sure because we're going to go see my dad at the cemetery this afternoon, and God, it's going to be cold as hell. So we may just get up and go have dinner with my mom and my sisters afterwards. Depends on what time it is. So yeah, but I know I'm going to give me a scrambled egg and cheese sandwich after the show.
I think I'm finishing up my Harris Teeter. Not Harris Teeter. My Jersey Mike's sub from the weekend. Buy one, get one free at the place by my job because they just opened up. And then this evening, I'm doing a roast. I was too lazy to start seasoning it up and marinating it. So we're going to do a quick marinade or a quick rub to get that going. But that's probably going to be dinner. Maybe do some potatoes with it. We'll figure it out. I got some time, especially if we don't do no overtime. I got some time.
Yeah. I am on the fence. I'm not sure what we're eating today. So I don't really have anything. I mean, I got some ideas. A big pan of fried potatoes would be good for me. So Jack Wagner
And I
said,
tell you,
"LOL, never that big, homie."
I tell you what though, I'm bringing the tablet or whatever on out to the cemetery, and we're gonna watch a little bit of Redskin football with my pop while I'm out there. So he loved his Redskins or his Washington.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man.
But it's about that time we wrap that shit up, B. Midnight Rider said something in the open. Late night deal the other night with the stadium deal. We got some movement. We got some progress. Contrary to popular belief, it was some misinformation tweeted out by a certain individual who I will not name. And it was big misinformation that got everybody scared and everybody believed it. I mean, people that live in the city believed that it was going to be federal taxpayer dollars, $3 billion to build a new stadium at RFK, but that wasn't the bill. The bill was to change ownership from the federal government to DC. That's what the bill was for. It was no money, nothing about building a new stadium with taxpayer dollars, because the new stadium is not going to be with taxpayer dollars. It's going to be with private funds anyway. So, everybody was up in arms and the bill got shelved, and then that part got taken out, and last minute it got passed. And I think that was a good thing that it got passed, because it had nothing to do with anything. And that certain person who thinks he's Tony Stark, but he can't touch Tony. You could get Tony Stark a full body massage and you still couldn't touch him. But you posted all of that misinformation, and I went off the deep end. And the boss BJ will tell you, because I was on the phone with him and I went off the deep end. And I was using every expletive that you could think of to say, mind your goddamn business. But gentlemen, how do you feel about this progress of this stadium deal that DC gets control of the RFK site?
Sounds like the ball's moving in the right direction. As I said a couple shows before, it'd be nice to have Washington football back in Washington, D.C. That's all I got to say. Midnight Rider, what you got?
Just want to see how the council messes this up. Like, I just don't have confidence in the DC council. I'm sorry. I know the mayor may want it, but I think the council will just find a way to get in the way. I think the land will be used for something new. I just don't think the stadium will be involved, and we'll be going out to Landover again with some adjustments to where the stadium is placed, so it's closer to the metro and things of that nature. So that's how I see it playing out. I see homes and maybe a dining area being put in DC to replace that, and then you having Commander's Field at Landover.
I'm gonna say this. I love what Jack said. I'm glad to see that we getting some sort of movement, but I gotta agree with the Midnight Rider. How is the council gonna mess this up? Because what I heard some rumblings when the bill got shot down. Oh yeah, we just want control of, but there's no stadium going there. And this is something my wife gets on me. She says, you have such a problem with what goes on in DC. I said, yeah, because it's decided by people that don't know nothing about DC. They've never grew up in DC. Like, I remember it was a congressman from Montana was saying that the Commanders shouldn't come back to Washington because they changed their name. And I'm like, what ties do you have to Washington other than you working here? What do you know about Washington?
Oh, that was the one that he was, the Montana guy is the guy that wanted them to have a thing where they recognize the guy that made the logo, that family. I don't want to even try to say the name because I don't remember the name of the chief, but
Blackie Wetzel.
Okay. Yeah, that was his connection.
Yeah. And here's the thing: before all of this started with the name change, even after the name change, if you go to a Commanders game, they always honored that family. They honored Blackie Wetzel. They always did it every time. It was always an honor. But I digress. I have a problem when you have people, and DC's full of transplants now. You got people from Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, all through the Midwest, the West Coast, the South. They come to DC, they take these jobs and they work, and then they come into DC and they want to change. Oh, well, we don't want this in our city. This ain't your city, man. You're here as a worker, because when you finish working and you retire, you're going back to wherever you're from. You're going back to the Midwest, you're going back to the South, you're going back to the West Coast. We are here. We've been here. We've watched the revitalization of DC because Jack's old enough, the Midnight Rider's old enough. We remember the fallout. We wasn't alive for the 68 riots, but we remember the burnt out buildings from the 68 riots that didn't get fixed until the early to mid 90s. We saw the revitalization of the 14th and U corridor. We saw the revitalization of Howard Theater. We saw the revitalization of Georgia Avenue. We saw all of that. Some of us are old enough to see how things have changed and gone for the best. The worst part was when the Redskins left DC. So to have a chance to have the home team back in DC to create the jobs and more money for the city, I'm all for it. But you got people that don't know anything about the culture. They've never spent a summer in DC. They don't know nothing about Marion Barry giving them their first job type thing. They want to make the decisions about what goes on in our city. And it's a lot of people that sit on the city council. Not only have some of them forgotten where they come from and how they got there, but they are so out of touch with what the people want that they'll go and they'll mess this up to the point that it'll be irreversible. And do I want to see it happen? No, not at all. Is it going to happen? Probably so. Probably so. But I'm just glad to see the bill move. And that's one step. So that's my rant for the morning. I'm done. I'm done. I didn't mean to bore the people, but I had that on my heart and I had to get it off.
Also, two things before we go. One, this week's guest in the passenger seat, DJ Woody O'Goody. That's available now. It should be posted in the passenger seat. We may post it again in the Sideline Junkies page. Go ahead.
It's posted in the passenger seat. It's posted on Sideline Junkies page. It's posted on all three of our pages. And for those of you that went to Bladensburg High School, it's posted in Bladensburg Alumni all years.
Second thing, we had two games yesterday. Ravens beat the Steelers. Chiefs beat who did Chiefs beat?
Texans.
The Texans. Gruesome injury in the Texans ball game. Tank Dell is still in Kansas City. He's still in the hospital. They haven't done any surgery with him yet. And that's really all I have. I just want to get those two notes in real quick.
All right. So go set your fantasy lineups. Get your picks in. Sit back and enjoy some good football. Enjoy the cold weather. For the gentleman Jack. The Midnight Rider. I'm the big guy KG. Thank you everybody that commented and joined us. We got a comment. Hold on. Appreciate that, Jack Wagner. Always a good show, fellas. Always.
Sure?
Especially when
that was Jack Wagner?
That was Jack Wagner.
Sure.
It's always a good show. We get participation from everybody that watch. So Jack Sweeney checking in. Go Philly, not a Commander fan, always a Redskin fan.
So why you say go Philly? Come on, Sweeney. I'm gonna have to give you a call.
So until next time, are we coming back Tuesday?
No, I thought we was doing Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay, so since we coming back Thursday, let me do my yearly tradition. Merry Christmas from the Sideline Junkies.
That's one of my favorite Christmas songs, man. Temptations.
See?
I love that Christmas album.
So we will see you guys on Thursday. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, New Year. Well, not New Year because we'll see you before the New Year, but happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.